Whoa, some rap. Very powerful with it. Hey everyone, it's Garrison here, and welcome back to the Patreon, or the channel where we're currently watching from. And now that I finally have more time and finished my review as of recently for Are You Next Midway Point, and I'll mind you, another girl group survival show, we are finally here to wrap up the finale of Queendom Puzzle, episode 10 and all. Now, let's be real here. The final episode was another stretch episode where they stretched the content, had filler moments in it, of course, and overdoing the wait on the live stream of things to announce the final lineup. But I've got to admit, they announced it faster than, of course, Girls Planet 999 at the time, for those who followed that survival show for Kepler. But straight to the point, prior to this episode, we had Miru, Rina, Phi, Jiwon, Bora, Sujin, and Joa unfortunately end up being eliminated from the show and all. It was really sad to see Jiwon and Bora specifically being eliminated, or more so surprising considering what they've showed so much earlier on in this show. And especially Bora, right? Bora had one of the most impactful performances all the way back to the first episode with the up-down battle. We've got to admit, or was it episode 2 where they're continuing up the up-down battle, of course, which I thought was questionable kind of battle and round there going on. But nonetheless, it sucked to see more eliminations, and honestly, eliminations shouldn't have been here in the first place for this show, considering how they could have kept even more interactions and put on more combinations for the show. But it happened to be the case, right? They wanted to create some sort of buzz, which didn't add that much buzz to the show, I've got to admit. But from this episode, in the finale, Billionaire for that team, for that song. Of course, we had Kenzie in the mix for both songs, but the likes of LD and Noise for one of the songs. And usually these are the individuals that work with SM artists and all in their songs, but Billionaire was with Nana, Jihan, Uhyun, and Yunhee. They were short members, 3 members short, right? Last piece, the most favorited song by the contestants, had Huiso, Yuki, Yi, and K, Dohwa, Jiwoo, Juri, Yerim, Ellie, and Suyun. Collective of 10 members. Now, I can understand why Last Piece can be more so the favorite song, but my problem with this goes back pretty much from the previous episodes of having a more favorited song likes of Bad Blood in the mix, right? It doesn't really have, there's not really of a fair level of playing field, you know what I'm saying? So that was a concern there in terms of Last Piece of music. I wouldn't say necessarily quality, but considering the lack of performances that we got and more so filler content, I just really wish we got more performances in general leading up into the finale here. So pretty much we got Nana drafting the members, herself picking a prominent part with Yunhee, Suyun, Uhyun, Jihan, Yuki, and K. Another surprising moment where we have Yunhee as a sub-rapper, but it really goes to show you how of an all-rounder Yunhee is, of different parts that she has done throughout this show, despite not getting songs that she has wanted in the past before. And then for Last Piece, right? Miso, Jiwoo, Juri, Ian, Ellie, Yerim, and Dohwa. The main concern here was if Miso was to, come through with K, there would be some overlapping. But if we clearly saw, it wouldn't even mattered, right? I felt like Huiso and Kay could have been in the same team, but I'm glad how everything really balanced out and members were distributed for these two songs and performances. Now, in terms of the performances for these two respective songs, I don't have much to say, not gonna lie. I think for those who are as familiar for Mnet survival shows or the likes of Show Me the Money, personally for me, I end up enjoying the semifinal songs more than the songs in the finale. But in this case, I couldn't enjoy the performance to the fullest due to the live mixing and how the mics were not like turned up more than the backtrack and all, you know what I'm saying, the instrumentals. So both performances deserved better in terms of the live mixing, production quality, and stage up. Like, hello, if you think about like Queendom 2 and other seasons, whether it's Kingdom, Queendom, like in terms of the props, the setup, it was very lacking, especially Billionaire compared to Last Piece. I felt like Last Piece had a better setup for that performance, which made that overall song and performance more impactful for that particular team. So after those performances, later on we got both teams that underwent for Snap and Charismatic come through to perform together. Pretty much filler performances that fill up the airtime for this show. I felt like the timing of this, they could have showed both teams perform together like way earlier, like in a different earlier episode, you feel me, and do Rise Up instead. But instead they did Rise Up earlier on when we had the initial eliminations, if I recall correctly, into the semifinals. So for some reason after this, they show some VOD for the live airing and live stream and all, and live reactions to the members splitting off into different teams. Team 1 went and had a Korean lunch, with Ellie being a fun tour guide and all. Team 2 went to a Thai restaurant. Obviously that was led by Phi, and she provided some new recommendations to the members. Team 3, they went to Subway, of all places. Not gonna lie, the transition was hilarious. Pretty much K-dramas, everything, there's gonna be Subway, or catering, there's gonna be Subway. So I don't think Subway's that, you know, fantastic and all. Not gonna lie, sometimes it does hit, but Subway is Subway. Now, something to note in terms of the voting, right? If we think about it, has been leading up into 50-50 domestically, internationally. We saw that the on-site voting for the performances were so off clearly in the earlier episodes and battles, right? But then you think about it, like with a live text voting until midnight or whatever, a ridiculous time domestically in their time zone and all, live voting changes things quite a bit. Even though, not gonna lie, right, the prediction for this lineup didn't change at all, pretty much, right? So the final lineup was predictable. I like this lineup a lot, but for those who say that this lineup is bad, they clearly did not watch this episode or this show as a full, and they did not pay attention. So the lineup wasn't shocking. I really enjoyed this lineup. So immediately we got announced for Yuki to come through, Kay, Yerim, and Yeonhee. But in terms of the 7th place, 1st place, and 2nd place, of course, they gotta build up the climactic hype and all, and announce Yann finally, and who's in the 1st position. It was either Huiso or Nana, and we got Huiso as the number 1 spot in the position for L's Up, and then Nana in 2nd place. So I really like how we have Yuki in the mix. Especially love how my locked-in vote Kay made it. She made it. She's been through a lot, and we know Lovelyz as a whole has been through a lot. I think we got to agree that the dark horse of this show was Yeonhee making it into the lineup, and I think she's going to show and prove even more within L's Up. I knew how much she was capable of before this show as a leader in Rocket Punch and all, and the fact that she did not get the songs that she wanted got twisted and turned left, right, and center on the show, but to really show what she's all about, during this show was absolutely lovely and beautiful, everyone. So we not only have like pretty much two main vocalist qualities out there, we have great vocalists, the likes of Yann, who's very multifaceted, and she could be a sub rapper as well. We got really two fantastic rappers with Yuki and Ian, very charismatic with it all, and dancers in the mix, the likes of Nana and Yuram, who are of course all-rounders as well. You can't go wrong with this lineup as all. It's just a matter of the artistic and direction, the artistic direction and music direction that's going to happen for this group. Are they going to have the right A&R? Are they going to have the right label to properly promote them? And the huge question is, how is this contract going to go? They didn't announce it was 1 year, 2 years, 6 months even, They said world tour, which so far it seems like they're going to perform in Japan, obviously, and all, probably in Korea as well. But what do they mean by world tour exactly? I like how they get a mama performance, an album, but aside from that, it seems like they're just going to get that one album and all that stuff, and they're not going to be continuously as a group for that long, which makes sense due to how busy they can get with their own groups and all. But then again, you look at the labels behind these groups, they haven't done much prior to the show, but then after the show, they're waking up, right? Rocket Punch is getting a comeback very soon. Of course, High Key was the first group to get announcement for a comeback as well. Weekly finally getting a comeback after so many months on hiatus and all. I believe getting a special song early, and then October is where we get the full pledged comeback, everyone. So after the show, really glad that these contestants have something in terms of plans and what's going on, even the likes of Phi and all. And yeah, I thought, this show was quite difficult to watch, unfortunately, in the final stretch of things. I would say after the Team Queendom and Puzzle battle round and all, where we didn't see accurate results in terms of those performances. And honestly, we could have gotten more original songs and combinations that were desired by us ourselves. So that's the only takeaway from this show, only as in heavy takeaway I've got to admit as a con, because if you think about it, the lost opportunity due to the eliminations and how these performances carried on from episode to episode, we're talking about from this episode as a part 1 to another episode as a part 2, and you have so much of this time, like 2-hour length episodes. Man, oh man, you could have just gave us even more rounds, more battles, original songs and performances and combinations that were led by the experts, whether that be the producers, singers, songwriters, choreographers that we enjoyed a lot, or us ourselves in the mix, instead of themselves, the producers, setting things up in terms of what kind of combinations were more so desirable by the contestants themselves. We saw how things happened, right, in terms of the contestants themselves drafting their own teams. Fairly good. For others, not as good at the end of the day, and I felt like we could have done more voting here on our end to have our favorable or combinations and desirable combinations that we could have had on this show. But that's my 2 cents and rant and all. Just lost opportunity as a whole with elimination and stretching the content a lot. And I really wish the finale performances were tuned better, but this is not the end. Obviously, we're gonna have to cover L's up in the future. I'm very hopeful for them if they get the right A&R and right label behind them. I heard LM Entertainment, that was Kang Daniel's previous entertainment, that's concerning, or whether that be Joe Yuri's label, that can be concerning at the end of the day. So I really hope their music ends up being really, really good, and I'm looking forward to the comebacks by the contestants who went through the show and all. So we're finally going to get even more music. But take care as always. Be sure to let me know your thoughts about Queendom Puzzle as a whole. Can you agree with my kind of sentiments of takeaways on this show and how I felt in terms of this final lineup? But take care as always. This has been Garrison, and peace.